Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Neil Thrussell, and I'm really excited to have Kevin Raymond with us, who's a performance mindset coach, writer, speaker, and 30 years. How is that possible? Oh, I see a little
I
gray in
know.
that beard. Okay, 30
Yeah,
years is just coming.
a little gray.
Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. It's a pleasure. Good job on handling so many of them today. That's great.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So there's going to be no foreplay in this. Kevin, what do
Okay.
you think success is? I'm just jumping in and we're going right for the gold.
Okay. I think success is obviously different for everybody, and I think there's many different ways to define it. For me, it's always trying to do my best. It's always trying to do the right thing. Happiness is success for me. I think having a fulfilling relationship and a love relationship, relationships with your family and friends, I think is also defines success. And I think a big thing is knowing the difference between needing and wanting, and if you can do that and be there, I think that's very important, and that kind of defines success for me. Being able to help, give back, those types of things.
So the pre-gray beard Kevin, was his version of success different than this version of Kevin?
Yeah, it was very different, and it goes way back to get before gray, just so you know. Um, but I remember, like, being in maybe my early 20s, and I lived in Ontario at the time, and I used to try commute to Toronto, and in driving into Toronto, you'd see this condo, and it was called the Palace Pier. It was like one of the biggest condos in Toronto at the time, and I always thought like that is the be all and end all, and if I had a condo there, I would be successful. For me, that was like at that time success. It's a little bit different now, but you don't want to live there.
Yeah, and now you don't want to go back to Toronto and live in that area.
No, exactly, because you'd never get to work. It's too busy and too built up, too much. So
Kevin and I were talking briefly in the green room. We're both from Canada, and we're on the opposite ends of the country. And there is an affectionate and sometimes not so affectionate rivalry between the different provinces of
exactly,
between us. And to me, success, one of the measurements of success as a country would be our ability to stand up and nurture and respect our differences.
absolutely, and that's what it was all about until some things started changing, and politics and things like that. But I think as a country, Canada is amazing, and I think we're incredibly lucky. If we could pull our stuff together and realize what we have, we could all be friends again. Whether you're from Ontario, Quebec, or Alberta.
Absolutely. Um, so, and as we talk about success, so we can pick
Mm.
anyone that has a modicum of s- ultra success. Whether we like Elon Musk, because we get a business course, whether we like
Yeah,
Elon Musk or not, most people know who he is. So even as a celebrity status, he has achieved something. So what do you think is the difference between someone that's got some form of status and I'll just use me as or someone that's an average person that you know goes home, does nothing wrong with the 9 to 5. But what do you think separates? Or is there a secret sauce?
I think to be honest with you, I think it goes right back to the 80-20. 20% of the work gets the 80, it gets 80% of the results. And I think if a person is successful, that's what they're applying, because there are, and like, there are millions of people who read self-help books and motivational books and all these things. Half of them don't finish them, half of them don't implement it. It's all about doing the 20% to get the 80% of results. And I think that that's the difference you see in people that are successful, because they actually do it, and they're working at it every day, pushing, 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 always trying to do better. And that's all it takes, right? There's too many little silver dollars floating around for people to like grab onto when when they're trying to be successful and trying to follow the course, but then a shiny little object comes by and like, oh, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, but you really have to concentrate on it. So it's like 20% gives you 80% of results.
So one of the secret sauces, what I just heard, is concentration or focus. And what do we focus? What would a person be needing to focus on?
I think you have to focus on what you want. Like, what do you actually want out of your life, like from your life? Do you want to be successful? Do you want financial freedom? Do you want to have a great relationship, or do you want to just have fun? There's a big difference. Anybody can have fun, but working hard, being successful, and achieving what you want to achieve is not always fun. It's a lot of work. It's hard work. You got to put in the hours to get the end result. In the end, you get to enjoy your life. You have the financial freedom to enjoy it. You have, the support to enjoy it. You have all of those things, but it really does mean that you have to put some work into it. Nothing comes for free, as we know.
So what I just heard is that you think you're telling me that I need to look at myself and have a plan. What kind of nonsense are you talking, Kevin?
Oh my goodness. I know. But it's true. Like, if you don't just look at an average day for an average person, like if you don't plan your day, it's shot, because you get interrupted by a number of different events that occur and things and obstructions and stuff. So you want to plan. That's key. Like, at the beginning of the week, plan your week. Make sure you've got everything that's important in there and follow through with it. Make sure you do it. Like, you have to plan to be successful. You have to plan to be organized. You have to plan to get where you want to go. And it doesn't matter if you're going to a wedding or if you're going to work. You got to plan to get there. So it's all about planning and preparing.
That's so true, because I think, and this is my thoughts, that people spend more time planning their 2-week vacation. And in Canada, we like to go to Mexico, or we like to go on our winter vacations to get away from the snow. I think many
Yeah,
people and most people spend more time on planning a holiday than they do on their life.
I think you're right. I think that's pretty common. Planning 2 weeks for a getaway weekend is something that's a lot more fun to do than planning 6 months of what you're going to do for your life. So it's important, and I think as an individual, I certainly suffered from that when I was younger as well. And I've implemented a lot of the things that I learned along the way in the last year of my life, and I've probably been more successful in the last 6 months than I have in my entire life. So I'm thankful for that.
Awesome.
Sadly, it
Oh,
took a long time to get there.
yeah.
So,
So Connolly, the key takeaway: version of success, it can look different for each of us, and
absolutely.
that's absolutely. Um, so what is so we talked about success. What does the lack of success look like in your mind?
I think if you're not successful, and again, it success is different for everyone, so it really depends what you're shooting for. But if you're not reaching the goals that you've set for yourself, whether it's financial or personal, it's a disappointment. You're disappointed in yourself, and it can be really hard to pull yourself out of those types of things. So that's why your mindset is very important, and having the right frame of mind and realizing what every person is capable of doing, because everybody has an incredible set of skills and they're different from everyone. So you want to find out and harness that. And if you need help finding out what those are, find somebody who can help you do that. Find a coach, find a counselor of any kind, and see what you're all about. Because a lot of people are lost and they can't figure out what they want to do, whether they're young or old. But there's people out there that can help you, and you should do it. You should go for it, and make sure that you find out what's the best way to be the best you.
And this sounds like you're coming back to this crazy concept of knowing what you want and setting goals. Um, but with goals, how do I know if it's my goal or society's goal, or are they the same?
Probably not. I think, you know what your goals are. Like, when somebody is pushing you to do something you don't want to do because it's what they want, you'll know that's not what I want to do. That's not my goal. Like, if somebody wants you to be an accountant and you don't like numbers, that's probably not something you're going to work very hard to do. But if you want to be an artist, you'll probably put everything you got into it. Finding what you want to do in your life is the utmost importance, because what you do is do something you love. And when you're doing something you love, you're always successful and always happy. That's what it's all about. So don't let somebody lead you down the garden path. Do what you want to do, and make yourself as best you can be in what you love.
Absolutely. So if I'm going to follow so I'm going to go back to this uber successful person. So now I know what I want. I've worked with my coach, and Kevin or whoever has got me focused on these goals. What would be the next step? Like, so now what would you think would be the
Because now
next
you know what you
steps?
want to do. So you know what you want to do. You got what it takes to do it. So now you have to implement it, and you have to put it into practice and do it. You have to get off your butt and do it. That's the key. And you got to work at it every day.
Okay, but now, and wonderful, yes, I 100% agree. But now I'm being the normal person, and I'm an adult, and I bump into a wall, and I fall down, and I quit, or I want to quit. Any thoughts on what what the next step
Absolutely.
is?
Well, number one, you got to get up, brush yourself off, and start again. Every time you do something wrong, you learn from it, hopefully. And every time something fails, you've learned again how not to fail at that same thing. So you should learn from that. But you also seek out your friends and family, or get a coach and get somebody who holds you accountable for what you want to achieve in your life. Make sure somebody's there to push you along the way. Get the support you need. Don't let yourself fall off the wagon just because you don't have somebody around. Like, if you don't know anybody, hire somebody to do it. Like, that's what it's all about. You need to be accountable to someone, to something. If you can't be accountable to yourself, make yourself accountable to someone else so that they can push you to get where you want to go.
Wonderful. So now we talked about you had this put in this apartment in Toronto. And so now, what is your future vision? So you have goals in it. What would the Kevin in 10 years like success to look like?
Well, I would like to actually have my coaching business be more successful. I'd like to have about 5 or 6 more coaches on board. I want to be able to give back to society and the community. I'd love to see me be able to start a drug rehab center for youth to help them become the person they were before drugs and alcohol took over their lives. I'd like to help abused women in whatever way possible. My mother suffered through abuse with her husband, and it's a horrible thing to watch and see how somebody can be controlled that way. Um, I think giving back and being able to do that because you have the financial freedom that you work so hard for is really important. I think it's fulfilling. I think that's the goal of every human being, is to be able to give back what you've achieved. So somebody like Elon Musk, you know, he could give us all $1 million and still not notice. So he should give back. Right? But that's what it's about. Like, if you have that much money, you should be giving back. And if you whatever you have, there's a ton of people out there that don't make even $100,000 a year, and they give back. So everybody should give back. That should be a priority for everyone, to give back, because something was given to you somewhere along the way. So it's time to pay up, right?
Yeah, I love that you used financial freedom, because that's an entirely different than wealth accumulation for the sheer joy of wealth accumulation.
Yes.
Because and that because money can buy all these nice things, but what it really buys, in my mind, is freedom. And I think you alluded to that.
Absolutely. You're free to do what you want to do, and you're free to give back, and you're free to travel, and you're free to help people. And that's a big thing. Like I know for myself and my partner, we both feel that that's a very important thing, that you give back to your society, your community, help people that are less fortunate, help people step up. That's the, that's what it's all about, helping those that can't do it to find a way to do it.
So we're almost. Oh, I got to put my glasses on. The restream that we're using. Okay, the restream. My clock is very tiny, so I'm like. See, so we still have time. So what I love is
Okay.
that you've defined you using goals and using your goals and your tools. You had a very distinct definition of success was, and that you wanted to give back. And you were talked about that you were willing to do whatever it was to get to those steps. Is and I think that's where a lot of people fail, is that they're not willing to do whatever it is to take, because there's 17 Netflix movies that I need to see, and that.
And where do
And
you get
what
that
do you?
time?
Yeah, yeah.
I think I think a big part of it is I think a lot of people know what they want to do, and they don't have the necessary tools or wherewithal to achieve it or get to it. So they need that direction, again, where somebody can help them, focus on where they need to go. I'll tell you, like a number of my clients, that's one of the biggest thing they have. They're starting a business, they're doing, got great ideas, they're doing really well, but they're like pinballs. They're bouncing all over the place from one thing to another, and they don't have that focus, that need to understand. And it equates from time management, being able to manage your time properly, being able to accomplish the tasks that you need at any given time, and being able to delegate properly and put things off properly and do things properly. And what is now, what is later, what is something somebody else can do. So those things are important, and those things are what causes people to probably fall off the wagon more than not, because that's where the frustration comes in.
We got a question on Facebook, and we do not have time to answer this, but I love it. So I'm going to encourage Kevin to go, because it came from
Okay.
one of your accounts.
Okay.
So I'm going to
Let
encourage you
me
to
just,
go and answer this
I will.
privately on Facebook, because that in
Okay.
itself is an entire 20-minute talk, if not longer.
It is. That is a big one for the next
And
person.
I love it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah,
Thank you.
thank you for the courage to ask questions, and that's
Yeah.
another part of success. You have to be I believe you have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone and be vulnerable and ask
Yeah.
questions. So we've
Absolutely.
so we've got only like a minute left. Is there any thoughts that you would love to leave our viewers, listeners with?
I would like to leave the thought that if there is something that you think you can do, go and do it and try it. The worst thing that can happen is you fail and learn from it and learn how to do it properly. You cannot lose. So just go out there, give it your best, do the best you can every single day, and make sure you fulfill yourself in whatever way you need to. Do the best you can. That's what it's all about.
I love it. Thank you. That's beautiful. And till next time, thank you. And
Absolutely.
thank you for showing up and being a part of the show, Kevin.
No problem. Thanks, Neil. Have a great day.